Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. We're talking about boldness and what you do. Boldness is the way you approach the things that you know about, right? If you don't know something about something, you tend to approach it very tepid. You tiptoe around it. One time I had to teach this class, and I just started learning the subject, and IBM goes, "Hey, Kevin, you seem to know a lot about it. Why don't you go?" And I was like, "No, I only know this, enough about it to kind of be dangerous." They go, "Well, we don't have anybody else to go. You're going to have to go." So I go, and I know all the book material, but I hadn't put it into practice, right? And so I'm doing this presentation, and the majority of the people that are there, they haven't even read the book. So I could dazzle them. But there were a couple people there who they knew what they were doing. They had used the product, and they had tried to program with it and all that, and they were asking other questions. And so we got into, well, Kevin, are we talking about JDK 1.2, or because we're now at JD, we're like one, I'll use it, that's Java Development Kit. But, we're talking about JDK 1.5, or are we talking about JDK 1.4? And I'm like, well, why do you ask? He goes, because we've been trying to get JDK 1.4 to work. So is there a new one coming out? And I didn't have an answer. And I had never played with the Java Development Kit. I was still, dinking around with 1.2. So, but it was funny how unprepared I felt, and how, you aren't bold when you know that the people in your audience know more than you do. It's like a stand-up comic, a rookie, and people start to heckle him, and he's like, oh, end of story. So the key is this: you're bold when you know something. When it's been there, done that. You're not fooling me. I got this down, whatever. Donald Trump is bold because this is not that difficult for him. The Barack Obama really demonstrated no boldness. The only thing Barack Obama was bold about was the idea of, he was bold about his ideology, but it was wrong. He knows his ideology. He didn't feel like it worked, but that didn't matter. He was bold in the ideology, but in the implementation of it, he stunk. Donald Trump's bold in the ideology because he knows it works. That's it. And so my question to you is, are you? People are questioning you all the time. They're questioning you, well, why do you like Donald Trump's tax plan? Or why do you like this thing on immigration? Or why do you like this? Are you bold in saying, here's the reason why? Let me answer it for a lot of people. Sorry to tell you, you're not. You're kind of wimpy. And you're wimpy for all the wrong reasons. You know you're right, but you're afraid. You're afraid of the ramifications. And so the question I'm going to ask you now is, are you going to stay this way? The left wants you to stay this way. They need you to shut up. They need you to let their voices be heard. We silenced them on November the 8th of 2016. You want to talk about a gut punch, a kick in the crotch, call it whatever you want, a hit right on the button. We knocked them the heck out. And then they got up and were like, where's the fight at? Now they're still bold, right? And my question is, do you want to let them up? Do you want to not go back in there and say, oh, you got up and you still think there's a fight? Boop, and are ready to knock them out again. Because if you don't, I promise you, they will pretend the fight never happened. So what's going on right now? Why can we be so bold? Donald Trump's gotten everything pretty much he wants. It may not be in the timing that he's wanted. He's used to disappointment. Can't get a building permit or something to do. Yeah, that's part of the routine, right? You think this guy's not used to some delays? So ask yourself this. This is a guy that builds these magnificent buildings in the middle of the most expensive real estate in the world. And that building, every day that it's not occupied, is costing him thousands, if not millions of dollars. Think about the number of shops and the number of penthouses and apartments and stuff. So I don't know what a typical building would hold, but let's say it's got 500 units. And those 500 units would be sold for a minimum of $5 million each. Somebody wants to do the math, you can. So you've got billions of dollars at play waiting on this building to be finished. And so you can amortize that back and say, how much does it cost me? What is the time value of me not having that $2.5 billion in my bank account doing something else versus it, being in other people's pockets? So that's how Trump thinks. So there may be a delay on the Muslim immigration travel ban or whatever. Travel order is what it really is. But I'll get through the delay. That delay doesn't it costs lives. Trump looks at it as it costs lives, but those lives are going to be on you, but I'm going to continue to work it. So he went through the process, through the courts. So that's what happened. You can look at that as part of refugee resettlement. We've already seen the outcome of his border policy. Every time somebody comes over, a potential for a job is lost, a potential for loss of American life. The productivity of America goes down every time an interloper comes here and wants to live off the system. Donald Trump sees it as, if I stop illegal immigration and I send a bunch of people home that aren't working and are unproductive, that means that our GDP goes up. He sees the business value of doing that, and he also sees the legality. So that's what you're looking at, a guy who understands all this stuff. The left thinks, oh, he's never going to get his tax reform. Now it's almost become a foregone conclusion. They said, how's he going to drain the swamp? He can't drain the swamp. Look, rhinos are leaving in droves. Flake, Corker, Conyers, Franken, he just bailed out. And there will be many more. He talks about the love of this country. He attacked the NFL kneelers, Kaepernick. They can give Kaepernick all the awards they want. It will not affect what Donald Trump is doing. He's sending a shot over the bow to corporations. He's saying, if you want to do this, you will suffer. And so people, oh, Kevin, I don't understand why he's all in the middle of that. He's in the middle of it because it has to do with Make America Great Again. These guys do not want America to be great, and they want to glorify a guy that hates this country. He's not going to allow it to happen. But you want to know what his biggest accomplishment is? Donald Trump's biggest accomplishment is ignoring the left. Most people, you're subject to human nature and go, I want them to love me. I want them to adore me. Donald Trump says, they hate me. I know it. They're fake news because they have no reason to hate me. And in doing that, he's saying, I ignore them. You know what? If I got to self-aggrandize, I'll do it. Hey, look at me. I'm great. Watch what I do over here. I'm going to bring these guys back from China. I'm going to bring back some money and trade from China. I'm going to do this over here. I'm going to make the Middle East carry their own debt, fighting the war on terror. Bold and decisive. So we've got border crossings at the lowest level ever. Not ever, but in a long time. People going back home from Mexico, which means the expatriate money that's been leaving the United States no longer leaves the United States. And every one of these policies has a long-range implication. That's what you got to think about. Now, I will say this. I'm not happy with Donald Trump and how he wants to deal with entitlements. I'm not happy with how he wants to deal with Social Security. I'm not happy with what he wants to deal with Medicare. He says we shouldn't touch those. They're sacred cows. And I say sacred cows make the best burgers. So at some point, we can't ignore this mega $1 trillion bubble that's ready to happen. Now, let me tell you why Donald Trump isn't as worried about that as most people. He sees it as, if we get our GDP up to 5-6% and the economy's humming along and we can start to reduce the deficit, then we'll pay down this debt. The level of productivity will rise and we'll be able to pay down. And he's talking true. So he looks at it this way. Think about this. We've made $6 trillion in the stock market or something like that since he took over. He looks at what your house value will be. He looks at getting rid of people that aren't working, bringing in people who are, bringing up people who will. And he's measuring all these numbers and saying, our GDP used to be $14 trillion, give or take. Now it's already rising at 17, 18 trillion. So if we can get our GDP into the $20 trillion range, we can start paying down that debt to the people that have already paid in, so to speak. That's what he's thinking. That's going to take a lot of productivity sustained for that to work. But at least we're moving in the right direction for somebody that says, I don't want to touch those entitlements. So, we're going to have a come to loggerheads, all of us, with Donald Trump on this issue. But right now, I got to give this guy a solid A.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.